Kate matches with Walker on a dating app, who seems too good to be true. As he tries to woo her, Kate starts getting suspicious about his behavior and finds out a horrifying secret. Eliza comes rushing in and locks the door behind her. She is in contact with Walker, who wants to make sure no one followed her from the bank. He sends her a picture of an injured bodyguard in Oslo and informs Eliza that some people are onto him. He also reveals that he needs to go into hiding. Walker asks Eliza to bring all the money and promises to marry her when things are better. Kate is scrolling through a dating app when she comes across Walker, whose profile interests her. Vivian comes over to check on her and asks if Kate believes she will truly find love on an app. Kate is optimistic and feels like if she puts herself out there, she'll find someone right for her. Vivian reminds her of what happened with Frank, but Kate feels that enough time has passed. She gets a notification and learns that Walker has matched with her and shows Vivian his profile. Vivian feels like he's too good to be true, but Kate knows she'll find out soon, since she's meeting him that night for drinks. Vivian offers to tag along, but Kate doesn't let her. Kate reaches the restaurant and watches Walker arguing with Eliza. As Eliza walks away in anger, Walker informs Kate that he was arguing with an ex-girlfriend. Kate feels like they should sort it out, but Walker doesn't want to have the same conversation again. He assures Kate that he understands if she wants to leave, but Kate shrugs. Everyone has exes, and it's not a deal breaker for her. Kate and Walker sit at the bar, and he tries to guess the kind of drink she prefers. Kate is impressed with his assessment, and Walker reveals it's his job to know his clients' tastes. Walker reveals that he is an art dealer for wealthy people, and has to travel a lot for work. Kate already knows he travels from his Instagram, and asks about the kind of art he usually buys. Kate reveals that she is a real estate agent, who started off with a career in journalism covering local government and city council meetings. Kate knows that wasn't good enough for her, so when she tagged along with her friend to do open houses on weekends, she realized real estate was a more natural fit. Kate comments on Walker's unique name, and finds out it's actually his mother's maiden name. He orders a bottle of the most expensive champagne, and they exchange stories about traveling in Europe. Kate's eyes are shining as they discover their shared interests. He seems like the perfect guy. At one point, he asks her whether she's ever been married, and she admits that she was engaged once, but it didn't work out. Walker impresses upon her the importance he puts on honesty, bringing up the fact that he'll be traveling a lot, and he wants to make it clear from the start. Kate doesn't care. She's already infatuated with him, and they end up sharing a kiss. Neither of them notice a jealous Eliza watching the entire conversation from behind a pillar. Kate happily reaches her office the next day and gets flowers from Walker. Vivian is still suspicious, but Kate wants to just enjoy the moment. Kate calls Walker and thanks him for guessing her favorite flowers. He apologizes because he intended to meet her again, but has to go out of town for 2 weeks. Walker feels bad, but Kate understands that he needs to travel for work. Over the next fortnight, Walker keeps texting her from different places. When he returns, she welcomes him excitedly. They're out in the park, and he announces he's in town for another week. He wishes Kate could join him one day, but she feels it's impossible to get out of work. They spot a dog, and Walker shares that he used to have one when he was young. Kate informs him about her first dog, a Great Dane called Geronimo. Some time later, Walker calls Kate from work, where his clients are throwing him a party. It has been a month, and he asks Kate if they can make their relationship official. Vivian comments on how many flowers she has in her office, but Kate loves that Walker is so expressive. Vivian doesn't trust him yet, but Kate insists she will be convinced when she meets him. Kate is excited to meet Walker, but gets a call from him to urgently pick him up from somewhere. He seems to be in a hurry and sends her his coordinates. Kate waits at the location till she hears a hurried knock from Walker. They reach her house, but Walker keeps looking around to find bugs in her apartment. When he is satisfied, he turns lovingly towards Kate and mentions how glad he is to see her. Kate is confused, and Walker explains that he needs to make sure they're not being followed. He insists Kate is very special to him, and wants her to understand how dangerous his job is. He points towards the painting in her house, and claims it is worth $6 million. Kate doesn't understand why his client didn't hire a professional to transport it. Walker clarifies that his clients don't usually follow the conventional paths, which is why it can be dangerous to transport such paintings. Walker's job is to keep the painting safe, and he reveals that the same criminals have staked outside his client's house. Walker thinks he is being followed too, which is why he needs to hide. Kate feels they should call the cops, but Walker knows these things need to be handled off the grid. Kate insists she wants to help Walker and suggests that he can keep the painting in her house. That night, while Walker is sleeping, Kate slips out of bed and starts unwrapping the painting. Walker surprises her by coming out, and Kate feels embarrassed. Walker understands and shows her that the painting has been sealed with a protective shield. He hopes she'll start trusting him soon. The next day, Vivian and Kate are waiting at the restaurant for Walker. Vivian feels it's odd that he resides in a hotel, but Kate explains that since Walker travels so much, it doesn't make sense for him to get something permanent. Kate knows Vivian is suspicious of him, but insists that Walker is different from anyone she has ever met, and asks Vivian to give him a chance. Walker arrives and kisses Kate passionately. He starts talking about his work, while Vivian discusses a very famous art gallery in Soho, the Crabelle, and asks Walker about it. Just then, though, the waitress comes back and informs Walker that his card has been declined. Walker hands over cash instead, masking the moment with a joke. Kate is happy Walker met Vivian. He's preoccupied about the card, though, so Kate offers to give him her own to ease his mind. Walker gets an envelope and hands her $10,000 in cash to put her mind at ease for letting him use her card. Walker suggests she can make another card for herself to keep their expenses separate. He asks Kate to get a $30,000 limit, which seems a lot for her, but she agrees to help. Next morning at work, Vivian meets Kate and reminds her of the gallery she mentioned at dinner. Vivian made up the name and knows for sure that Walker is a liar. Kate feels Walker either got the name wrong or was embarrassed to admit he didn't know of a famous gallery. Vivian is concerned because Kate is making excuses for him. Kate feels Walker just deals with a lot of money and mentions the 10 grand he gave her. Vivian asks if he is making Kate do something shady, but Kate denies it. Later, Kate asks Walker about dinner, but he sounds suspicious again and asks if he can come over. He warns Kate not to scream when she sees him. Kate opens the door to let Walker in and finds someone has punched him in the face. She gets an ice pack for his swelling. Walker explains that the criminals found him outside his hotel and beat him up, but he managed to escape. He insists he wasn't followed and assures Kate he would never put her in danger. Walker insists they cannot involve the cops in this. Kate gets him medicine, but Walker claims to be allergic to it. Kate offers to go to a convenience store and get something else for him. When she's out, Walker starts checking her drawers and takes pictures of her documents. Kate finds what she needs in her car, so she decides to head back. Walker scrambles back to his position just in time. Kate asks him about the Crabelle gallery Vivian mentioned, and informs him that it doesn't exist. Walker confidently claims he knows it doesn't, but didn't want to embarrass Vivian at the dinner. Kate is satisfied and hands him the card she got made for him, but it only has a $15,000 limit. Walker is grateful regardless. Kate wakes up to find Walker talking on the phone. Walker declares that he needs to leave the country for a few days. Walker insists he has $20,000 in cash at the hotel, but can't get to it. He asks Kate how much she can lend him, and asks her about any savings and funds. He promises to pay her back, and even shows her a will he has prepared, so she gets everything he owns if something happens to him. Kate feels it's a little extreme, but Walker insists she is the best thing that has ever happened to him. Walker suggests they should head to the bank early morning. Kate comes into the office looking very tired, and Vivian comes over to check on her. Vivian is suspicious since Kate never comes late, but Kate assures her that everything is fine. Kate scrolls through Walker's Facebook friends and finds Eliza. Later, she waits at a coffee shop and approaches her. She introduces herself, and Eliza is curious about how Kate found her. Eliza reveals that when she saw her and Walker that day, she was begging Walker to take her back. Eliza explains that Walker's traveling got too much for her, which is why she broke things off. But she regrets it now, since she knows Walker is amazing and a true gentleman. Eliza also confirms that she is sure Walker is an art consultant, and feels Kate is very lucky to have him. Kate notices a suspicious car outside her house, so she enters and locks the door. The doorbell rings, so she partially opens the door to meet Carmen Logan from the Los Angeles Police Department. Carmen reveals that she is investigating fraud, and asks about a card Kate took out recently. She wants to know if Kate has checked the balance. Carmen asks Kate to log into her account, and Kate notices the limit has been exceeded. Carmen points out how this activity is unusual for her account, but Kate insists she had to spend extra this month. Carmen directly asks if someone is using her card, because has acquired security camera footage of a man, and shows her the picture. Kate recognizes Walker and knows she is busted, so she confesses that she knew about him having her card, and insists that Walker will pay her back. Carmen insists that while he might have told her his name is Walker, his real name is Stephen Kamal, and he is known for conning women out of their life savings and disappearing. Kate doesn't believe it, and insists he gave her cash and left an expensive painting with her. Carmen asks to see the painting, and rips off the protective shield. It turns out to be a cheap poster with a frame bought from a yard sale. Kate starts doubting Walker, and asks Carmen what she can do. Carmen insists Kate needs to pretend everything is fine, and not let Walker know she's onto him. Kate still feels he might pay her back, but Carmen insists this is his pattern of conning women. Kate comes out of the shower and picks up a call from Walker, who seems worried, since she has not been answering her texts. Kate doesn't feel well, and explains she got an email from the credit card company informing her that her limit has been exceeded. Walker is parked right outside Kate's house, and leaves after looking around suspiciously. Kate is summoned by the bank in the morning, to inform her that someone tried to move all the money out of her savings account. The man informs Kate that since it was a large amount, and Kate didn't respond to her text to confirm the transaction, the hacker couldn't succeed with the transfer. He informs Kate about certain social security questions guarding her account, and insists that the hacker already seemed to know the answers, like her mother's maiden name and first pet. Kate gets a flashback of all the times she unconsciously gave Walker the answers to such questions. Kate feels very stupid for falling into this trap. But Carmen comforts her by assuring her that a lot of other smart women have been duped too. Carmen feels Steven is sophisticated, and suggests that Kate file a civil suit once he's arrested and get her cash back. Kate is sure she wants him to get caught more than she wants her money. Carmen is impressed, since most of his victims don't want to cooperate. Kate feels she is beyond embarrassment, and just feels angry and wants to stop him. She suggests she can call Walker over for dinner so they can arrest him, but Carmen knows he is good at reading people, and since he couldn't transfer her money, he probably already believes that Kate must be onto him. But Carmen suggests that men like him have a lot of pride, and Walker could lose his cool if that is triggered somehow. This gives Kate an idea, and she smiles. Then we see that Kate is preparing for a video podcast with Sarah Masters, the host. Kate reveals that she has mentioned the episode on her social media, so everyone should be watching it. They go on air, and Sarah introduces Kate, who is ready to discuss her experience on the dating app. Kate confidently thanks Sarah for having her, and describes her experience of meeting a charming man who treated her like a queen, just to scam her out of all her savings. Kate reveals that he has scammed a lot of other women like her, and gives out his real name, and the one he has assumed recently. Walker also watches this episode, and looks on as Kate reveals his story, about the painting, being chased by criminals, and how he conned her into using her credit card. Sarah feels most women would be embarrassed to admit this, and calls Kate brave. Kate simply doesn't want to allow him to con other women, and holds up a picture of him. Kate is anxious while having dinner with Vivian, and wants to check her messages. She has a lot of texts from friends and family, and even Walker. Kate is afraid to play the messages from Walker, but Vivian reminds her that she needs to be strong, and that she hasn't done anything wrong. Kate plays the first message, which starts with Walker asking her to call him back since he's in town. She then plays the second message, where Walker asks her how she could do this to him, since he loves her. Kate then plays the third message, where Walker starts abusing her, and informs her that he will ruin her life for what she has done to him. That night, Kate looks out her window before she goes to sleep, but doesn't spot Walker sitting in his car right under her house. She wakes up in the morning and finds a note from Vivian informing her that she left early for an open house. Kate checks her door and finds Eliza, who has seen the podcast, and is there because Walker did the same thing with her. Eliza feels embarrassed that even after the check bounced, she continued to believe him. Kate understands, but feels like Eliza should have told her this before, and asks her to share her story with the public. Eliza came to warn Kate, since she knows even if Walker lies, he is involved with a lot of criminals who might hurt Kate to get to him. Kate doesn't understand why someone would hurt her, but Eliza insists these people are dangerous. Something about Eliza's tone disturbs Kate, and she asks how she got her address. Eliza insists she found it online, even when Kate knows that as a realtor, she has been extra careful to not put her name on the deed. Eliza insists she found it on the internet, and digs into her purse. She takes out a knife, and Kate backs off nervously. Eliza believes she is special, and Walker actually loves her. Kate still insists they can go to the police, but Eliza cuts her arm and chases after her. After a scuffle, Kate successfully knocks her out. She then hears someone trying to get into her room, and cautiously approaches the door with the knife in her hand. She finds a scared Vivian, who has come to check on her. The cops help patch up Kate's wound and clear the house for her. Carmen insists she needs to not let any other unknown person into her house. Walker might have a lot more women in love with him who are willing to do his bidding. Vivian offers for Kate to stay with her, but Kate doesn't want Walker to win, and feels like he will look to Vivian's house next. Carmen assures Kate that all her doors and windows are locked, and that someone will stay in a car outside her house at night until the threat is over. Carmen has the first shift, so Kate waves to her from her house and comes down to give her coffee. Carmen is grateful, and insists nothing will happen to Kate on her watch. Kate offers to let her sleep in, but Carmen is excited about finally being out in the fields and getting out of the office. Kate still insists that if Carmen needs anything, she can ring the doorbell. Kate then heads back in, and Carmen starts her watch. She is almost asleep, but notices some movement outside Kate's house, so she gets out of her car to check it. She keeps searching, but Walker comes up from behind her and knocks her out. The next morning, when Kate comes out of her house with coffee for Carmen, she notices her car is empty. Walker then comes out from behind and gags her. Kate wakes up in a strange house and sees Walker, who assures her that she is somewhere no one can find her. He offers her water, even if Kate feels he has poisoned it. Walker insists if he wanted her gone, he would have already done it by now, so Kate decides to drink it and spits it out on his face. Walker declares that he always loved Kate's spunk, and that she turned out to be smarter than the other girls. She ruined his life, so now he cannot go back to what he was doing. He holds her phone up to her face to open it, but Kate reveals she doesn't have face detection. Walker asks her to unlock it, and when she refuses, he brings out a knife and points it at her throat. Kate feels he will rot in jail for his life when he's caught. Kate then understands his plan and knows he kidnapped her with her phone so he can get the wire transfer approved. Kate tries to get emotional and insists he broke her heart, and she doesn't want to give him more money that he can spend on other women. She apologizes for the podcasts and insists she was just angry about him being with so many others. She cunningly shares that she would have helped him with his scam if he had just confided in her. She keeps trying to convince him she's still in love with him, and it looks like it's beginning to work. Walker feels like Kate is manipulating him, but she insists she could help him move to another country and use her real estate knowledge to make a lot of money breaking into houses, much more than what he makes now. She asks him to untie her so she can eat something and talk normally. While he checks for something to eat, Kate tries to free her hands from the chair. Vivian reaches Kate's apartment and finds Carmen tied to a bench. Vivian helps free Carmen and the two decide to call Kate to see if she'll answer. Meanwhile, Kate has managed to free herself, but pretends she's still tied to the chair as Walker approaches her. He notices a missed call from Vivian and knows her friends are looking for her now. He threatens her to approve the wire transfer, but Kate gets up and pushes him away. She tries to take the knife away from him and defends herself with a fire poker. When Walker knocks her down, Kate keeps fighting, even when Walker injures her. Walker runs away as he hears police approaching, leaving an injured Kate on the floor. Vivian feels bad for not doing enough, but Kate insists that Walker surprised both of them and is grateful that she saved her in time. Kate asks about Walker, but Carmen assures her that everyone is looking for him, so he can't run forever, and even Vivian feels that because of Kate, Walker will not be able to hurt anyone else. Meanwhile, in Paris, a woman admires a painting on display, and Walker comes in disguised as someone else and suggests the paintings are beautiful. He informs her that the artist created the whole series before he passed away, and she is impressed he knows so much about art. She introduces herself as Jada, while Walker gives his name as Roger Kane.